2005 is not a very popular topic. Nobody actually discusses about it. Lesser people are discussing about it. But you can see in the longer run, starting from 2010, like 5 years ago, it has become a very important topic. People keep talking and discussing about it. So in my opinion, this is a developed, very matured concept. If I'm a researcher, if I want to secure my next 5 or 3 years funding, I will look for something that's around the stage. So that in the future, there's still room for growth, but you won't have too little literature to read on. So I think this area will be, this figure will be a place that you can enter. Okay, let me come back to my slide. Sorry. Very mature concept. All right. If I'm a researcher, if I want to secure my next, and I think I have discussed this. What you can do is you can next one. What you can do here is the next place that we want to evaluate journals. We have spoken about how do you measure performance at article level. We also want to explain to you how to measure performance at a journal level. So there are different levels, okay? Citation for article level is to help you to find out what are the article that's worth reading. And this, at the journal level, is to help you to find a journal that is worthy of your time to submit papers into that journal. All right? So there are two options here. First link is browse source. So this is the common page when you click into browse source. Demo required? Okay, I'll keep continuing. If it's required, let me know. This part, I put in the word renewable energy. So in this view, you have a certain keyword and you will start looking for titles. So you will have results that's relating to renewable energy. So all the results here are journals. It's not the same with the previous one, that's article. This is journal. And you will see the measurement. The measurement for journal is SJR and SNP. So if you see this, you know we are talking about journals. And then secondly, you can search. Let's say you do not have a particular journal that you have in mind. You do not have a habit of submitting into journal ABC. You just want to browse in general. You will just come here, look for subject area, and then you can display. So you can look for all the information when you click into the hyperlink. SNP and SJR, I think is very important in Thailand at this moment because the journal that you publish into need to have a higher SNP and SJR score. So there might be a question here. Why some of the journals here do not have any SNP or SJR? It's because these figures, these are probably newer journals. We take at least 3 years of performance to come out with a score here. So if you're submitting into a journal, say, it depends on your objective. If you want to submit into a journal and get indexed, it's easier to go into SJR or SNP that's slightly lower because they are more lenient in terms of accepting paper. However, the quality, you might jeopardize your quality. So if I'm a very mature researcher or I want to be famous in my field, I will go for higher SJR score. So you have different objectives. If you're an early career researcher, you want to increase your publication, you go for lower ones. It's easier to accept. But if you are looking for presence, you want people to know you into a journal of, say, renewable energy. You should try very best to go into this area with a higher score, because that's where you get your money, funding and resources from. Into SJR or SNP that's slightly lower because they are more lenient. So when I click into the journal, this is the journal landing page. the quality.
It will tell you your
SJR SNP score, and then also in
if I'm a
documents,
very mature researcher,
and then this
or
has
I
the
want to be
citation
famous
overview
in my
too.
field,
So
I
it's
will
the
go
same
for
with
higher
the
SJR
live
score.
demo
So
I
you
just
have
did,
different objectives.
but this is
If
at a
you're
journal
early
level.
career
So the
researcher,
function
you
is the
want to
same.
increase
It will
your
look at citation,
publication, you go
but
for
just
lower
now we are
ones.
looking
It's
at
easier to
keyword
But
at
if you are looking for presence,
article level,
you want
and this
people
one
to
is a
know
journal
you
level.
think
So what you can do is you can read
renewable energy.
what are the
You should try
papers
very best
being
to
indexed
go
here.
into this
If you
area
want to submit
with a
into
higher
journal
score.
and get indexed,
And
that's
if
where
you
you
really
get
liked
into funding
this
and
journal,
to
you can follow this source.
SJR.
Okay?
So whenever there are new articles indexed here,
So
you
when
can
I
come
click
to
into
this
the
place
journal, this
and
is a journal
subscribe.
landing page.
They will send it to you every month,
It will tell you
or as and when there's new
your
update.
SJR SNP score.
And then also
if
the
I'm
next
a
one,
very
and
mature researcher,
then
this has a
evaluation.
citation
We
overview
have
too.
evaluated
So it's
the
the same
individual journal,
the
individual
live demo I just
article.
did.
We also want to evaluate
So the
the
function
author.
is the same.
It will look at not everyone
just now we
will
are
have an
looking at
author
keyword
profile
and
and
if
scope
you are looking for
unless
presence,
you publish in a well-known journal. So this is how we are looking at finding a prolific author in that research field. Prolific might be a big word, but make it very simple. Who is the must-know person, must understand person if you are doing renewable energy? Who do you need to read first? Let me put it this way. So in document search, you put in renewable energy as probably in Indonesia, and you will come up with results here. I think I required to do demo here. Required? Okay. It's a little bit. So everything starts with search. You come back to search. And then type renewable. I've already got renewable. And I will go Thailand. Let's don't do Indonesia. And select country. You want to know who that you need to read in Thailand who is doing renewable energy. This is purple. You search. So we got 400 over results. As usual, if you think this is too much, you can narrow it down here. Just select different field. So what I do here is, of course, come here, select, I think select all, and analyze results. This is good for performance evaluation. You can evaluate your individual profile. You can also evaluate at a higher research office level. So what we do here is we come up with different tabs, and the author that we think is very important is this person. Then we can click in to see more information about this author. So bear in mind, this number is, this professor, I think, is from Chiang Mai University. He produces the most paper on renewable energy in Thailand. And these are his citation numbers. So this is how we evaluate it, by the number of paper he published, and then also the citations he received, and then who he worked with. So these are all the information. Keep going to this one. Okay. So this is okay. You can also evaluate this particular search result by the journals. So if you're doing renewable energy in Thailand, then what are the journals that people always submit into? You can follow them, say these areas are the journals that I need to submit for renewable energy, or you can have other innovative ideas to look for other journals. And then when you look at all this one, you get to compare the journals. Say you have 3 or 4 here, then you can look at with each of the performance. I will go into detail later. Now, I don't know if you know anything about SNP and SJR. I keep talking about it. But what is SNP and what is SJR? Like what I say, everything has a measurement. SNP and SJR is the measurement for journal. That's very simple. So, citation is measuring article. So basically the first paragraph is, first and second paragraph actually, I've just summarized it. And we can also read more information on the evaluation of journal assessment. That means somebody come up with a fair and just way to evaluate journal. You can read this link at your own free time. We have this journalmatrix.com, which is a very good area if you are doing analysis and performance evaluation. You can read about it. Okay, and then you need to know that there are several different matrices that's in the world. The most heard about one is impact factor. Every journal has impact factor, and we actually summarize the formula of calculating impact factor for you. So you can see, if I'm interested in the impact factor in 2011, we take all the work, all the items, inclusive books, journal, conference proceeding, everything that's being published and cited in the past 3 years. And you divide by articles published. That means I take journal, books, conference proceeding, divide by journals only. So it's a very easy way to calculate impact factor. But one of the criticism is it's too easy. So people can manipulate it. It's if I am the journal owner, I'm a publisher, I can manipulate this figure too easily because I just need to increase the number of journal articles, then I get to change. And also there's another criticism. All these journals, they are from different subject field. And if we just look at impact factor on its own, it seems like Nature Materials is the best one because it has the highest score. And the last one, because it only has 1.1, it means it's probably not so good. But actually they are all the best in different subject field. I want to elaborate a little bit more later. Because the nature of your research in different subject field, that actually will cause the difference. It sounds a little bit difficult to understand, but let me try to make it simple for you. Say this field, neuroscience, health sciences, those are areas that we need to know the latest discussion. We always need to come up with new research. Therefore, people cite and write a lot more. But for areas like arts and humanity and mathematics, they are coming up with fundamental knowledge, theories. So it's really difficult for them to cite and publish all the time. It's difficult. Therefore, you will see different impact factor. It's just the nature. There's nothing right or nothing wrong about this. So, what we think is we got a solution. We think it's a solution that we can look at SJR and we can look at SNP. The SJR is a simpler version of SNP. SJR is like impact factor, but we calculate it differently so that it's it's not so easy to be manipulated. And SNP, we actually take into consideration of different subject field. So SJR solve question number 1, and SNP solve question number 2. Okay? Let me show you, I think I've just covered this one, how to calculate impact factor. And this is SJR. I'm going to explain a little bit more. Life sciences receives a lot of citations because of the nature. So each of the citation will have a lower weightage. It's like if you have a lot, they are not so important anymore. So the weightage is lower. For arts and humanity, because it's really hard to cite, therefore each of the citation carries a heavier value. That, for example, if you can buy $10 bags, you can buy 100 of them if you have 1,000 baht. And if you have 1,000 baht, you can only buy one bag. So this one is more value, in my opinion. And for SNP, it's even more complex. It has different categories. First thing, you look at citation potential for 3 years. What is citation potential? Well, basically what we look at is for the next 3 years, what we think you are more likely to get cited. And you also look at reference lists from citing paper. Remember in Scopus, I told you there are cited by the number of citations, that's the one. And then you also count references, that means the references that you are reading for you to write that paper. Sounds very complex, right? Basically, you want to cover everything to make this more, it covers more, lesser criticism. And you will even out this by adding all of them together. And then we just call it normalized. This is a bigger picture of what I have just explained. So you have more citation on life sciences, lesser weightage, and then lower, and then more value for journals that has lesser citations. And this is what I've just explained for SNP. How do we come out with the ways of calculating it? Just to make it simple, it makes sure that all the subject areas are in the equal ground when you compare them across different subject fields. So for example, this one, after the calculation, they are now comparable. Previously, it's this amount versus this amount. Right now, they are comparable because we normalized it. And this is on Journal Browse page, which I've showed you just now. And the advantages and disadvantages. I think I've covered most of them. Transparency, because you get to know them. There are formulas on this website, you can read more. And then you can find them on Scopus very easily. It has been normalized, and it has like 3-year citation window, so it's a good measurement. And it's so difficult to explain, therefore it's so difficult to manipulate. And then Science Direct covers, Scopus covers all the sources. Finally, everything that has good things, it also comes with negative things. It's very complex, and then it does not take into account of review content. By review content, that means an idea that has been reviewed by other authors is not taken into account in the calculation. So I think this one I've also covered with my demo using the citation overview tool. Now, I also want to say something about author. In Thailand, it's not so often, but in other parts of the world, that for example, America, US, it happens very often because Smith is a common name. A lot of people call Smith. So when I'm doing an author search, that's my pain. If I want to follow a professor that's called Dr. Smith J, Professor Smith J, and I key in, there are so many Smith J. Which one is my Smith J? Therefore, we want to find out how to evaluate them. First thing, of course, you can go into the page, each page, and look for it, but it's going to take so much time. Therefore, we want to introduce something called ORCID. Let me go through this function as well. First thing, this is the author page, a typical author page of what you can see. And this part is the documents, and then how you can evaluate it in graphs and charts. So as say research office people, you want to evaluate your professor or somebody you want to hire or give contracts to, you can look at these to know how is his academic performance. And as a student, you can also see in this area how many papers he has published and then how important they are. I mean, there's citation at the back of it. So you can look at by cited by. And then of course, you can follow this author. If this is my lecturer, if this is my professor, my mentor, I want to follow each and every paper that he publishes and get indexed in Scopus. This, as a researcher myself, let's say this is my profile, and I want to know if there's anybody citing me at all, you can subscribe to Get Citation Alert. Once my paper are getting cited, you will receive a notification. So this brings me back to the Add to ORCID. There are so many Dr. Smith, but which one is my Dr. Smith? What we do is to come up with a solution. The ORCID, Open Research Contributor ID Registry. In Scopus, each of the author is being remembered by an ID. The name, we don't remember. We remember by a number. That is particularly for Scopus. But we have come up with, the world has come up with this standard, industry standard called ORCID. Everyone in the publishing world knows what is this. And you, if you are a researcher, I will strongly encourage you to register for one. It's free. And you can submit this when you submit your paper. So they will link you correctly. They will not spell your name wrongly. In Thailand, I think that's the most painful issue because your name are being spelled wrongly. Or the way that we acronym, so it looks very funny. But this is the one that you should consider of having it. And then after you register for one, you can actually merge it on Scopus so that all your profile will appear correctly and the number of citations and the document index under your name will be right. So let's say, what if your current profile has some issues? Because each individual author know their work best. So if you have any issue with this, you can come to this place called scopusfeedback.com. There's a wizard that helps you to put in all the information. I will get it fixed for you in a very fast time. Previously, it takes at least 6 months, but with this one, it's much faster. I think 3 months. It's taking a while because we need to verify your work. It's not like any request comes in, we will just change for you. That's why it needs a little bit more time to verify. Now, talking about journal analyzer, I said about SNP, I said about SJR. But how do we compare if I have 5 journals that I really want to evaluate them? You will come to Journal Analyzer. Let me show you where's Journal Analyzer. Analyze journals. So we always go back to the main page. Everything I have shown you today can be entered in that main page. Okay, this is Journal Analyzer. So what I do here is I can key in the name of the journal, say Nature, and then you can select. Normally I will use journal title, or you can also limit by subject area. Say today we are in chemistry or science. Then you can select from here. You can look at the SJR, or you can also look at the name. What you need to do is either drag and drop, or you can double click. Let me try another one with computer science. See if we can find any. You can actually sort it. The That means we go with the higher one. Okay? So now you can look at the performance of all this journal that I have selected. I have selected Nature because it's actually one of the very important journal that has a very high SNP and SJR, so that you can see the differences. But however, this is not the science field, so it's probably not very, they are uncomparable, so I'm going to remove it. Okay, so you can look at it in SJR, you can look at it in SNP, you can move the dates around, you can look at citations, and you can look at documents. Document means the number of documents that has been indexed inside this journal. And this is a very interesting evaluation area that I like to spend a little bit more time, this part. Percent not cited. What percent not cited means, even in a very prestigious journal, there are also articles that people do not cite. So what you can do is you can look at what are the odds of you get indexed, you get accepted in this journal, but you might not get cited. So you can actually compare. So those with the higher ones is probably the ones that you might need to take special attention, pay special attention to. And the next one here, percent reviews. That means if you are interested in reviewing works, then you can look at how many reviews are being accepted in this area. So today, if you are writing on a manuscript that is related to reviews, then you can look at what are the journals that is more likely to accept review papers. So this is how you evaluate them. So far, any questions? If not, I'll come to the summary. Today, I have covered how to use profile to evaluate individual authors, and we also understand the research trend. Remember the value cycle and how Scopus is helping you at each of the stage, and which journal to select to increase your chance of getting accepted. Who can you collaborate with? It means they're in the author search, you can see who is a strong person in that field that you should collaborate with. And then also you can link to full text via the link of the individual journal if you have full text access to. If there's any question, you can ask me now, or you are too shy, you can ask me after this at the site during the break. No questions? Yes.
Thank you very much. I just want to know about, this is a Scopus. Sometimes we are using the Google Scholar, Science Direct. So what's the main difference? As you told that it grabs all the full text articles. But at the same time, I'm very comfortable with the Google and Google Scholar. So what's the big difference?
That's a very good question. When I visit a lot of researchers, they're telling me the first point of entry is always Google and Google Scholar because it's so easy, and then it's probably the first thing that popped out of your mind. Well, I do admit it's a free tool. Anything that's free, I will intend to try them first. It helps you to narrow down things. But there is a slight shortfall for using Google and Google Scholar because they do not have peer review content indexed inside. It's generally a Google search. So when you search inside, you can probably get information that has not been verified. Anything that's in Scopus has been verified by subject expert. For example, which faculty you're from?
Faculty of Agro-Industry.
Sorry?
Agro-Industry.
Aero industry.
Yes.
Agro? Agro industry.
AGRO, agro.
Oh, agro, sorry. Agro industry. So we will have a subject chair that's from the industry to evaluate all the journals to make sure they are of a certain quality before it gets indexed into Scopus. So basically, we can make sure the content is of a certain level. But for Scopus, for Google and Google Scholar, I'm pretty sure they do not have this panel. And that's why the main difference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Kasetsat University has a lot of young scientists who just begin their first research in their career. How can they use Scopus to find what subject or what topic of research that they should do to promote themselves in their research and career? For example, if they are in the field of renewable energy,
Yes.
Can we use Scopus to find the keywords that has high impact or highly cited?
I think the question is very, very important if you are just starting up because you are still finding which area you want to spend more time on. So what I can do is it will be really, really good for you to start with document search. Always start with document search because that is the function that help you to narrow down. The other day, I've got a question from a researcher. He says he got funding and then he wants to, or she wants to do a research that's related to healthcare. And she doesn't know what kind of keyword or which function that she can use to help narrowing her work down. So what will I do normally is to strongly encourage everyone to start with document search. This is the most simple function, but it's most effective one. So you put in renewable energy. And okay, a little trick here is always start with a keyword that is broad. Do not, okay, let me give you an example. The other day, she was telling me, I want to know the key performance indicator in healthcare industry at Thailand. So it's like a lot of keywords. And then her research result is like 5. So there's very little thing for you to read if you only have 5. What I would recommend you is to go for a bigger one. And I suggested her to start using hospital, Thailand, quality management. These are bigger keyword. Then you will have a bigger pool of results. And then you can start narrowing. Okay, let me show you an example. Say renewable energy. That's a very huge word. And then you've got so many results, right? And you can put in Thailand here. Or any other keywords that you can think of. Narrow. You can narrow it down using keywords inside keywords. And then you can also narrow it down with the years or subject areas or say journals. Then you can just narrow it down further. After you have done all this narrowing down, you select all, and then you start looking at citation overview. This will help you to look at the trend. Okay? So first thing, you look for areas, and then you find out how to get the correct keyword. Then you start evaluating the trend using citation overview. Okay? Any more questions? Yes, we'll get two. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Follow Professor Suri's questions.
Yes.
I think one way to have increased publications is to find hot topics.
Hot topics.
Yes, I mean the interesting topic.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other general guidelines to have the to try try to have more publications.
Ah, okay. I think I sort of misunderstood your question. Probably what you mean is if you don't even have a keyword, how do you even decide on that keyword? Right? That was the question. I can do that using Science Direct. So later, my next session, I will tell you how to do it in a topic area, in terms of topic. How do you decide on the topic? Okay, it's in my next presentation. Yes, on Science Direct. And I think there is one more question from that side.
Hello. If we hold a conference here in Thailand, how can we get our published paper listed in Scopus?
Okay. First, there is also a content selection board for conference proceedings. So it's the same with journal. First thing, you need to make sure the conference that you are attending is already inside Scopus.
I mean, we want to have our international conference listed in Scopus. Which were previously unlisted.
There is a person that I can refer you to. Basically, there is a list, and then we will have list of criteria that we need to screen through, and then we will send it to our content advisory selection board, and then these people will evaluate your conference proceeding criteria and then get it indexed. Probably after this, I can get your contact number and then contact email, and I'll link the person up, with you. Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
Do you have any kind of analytical tools for to see the statistical of the subgroup topic inside inside a subject? For example, within 3 months, I would like to know the subtitle that most people cited in this subject area. Do you have any tool for that?
Let me try to understand the question. So let's say you have a broad area on the subject category,
Yes.
but you want to narrow it down to
Yes.
see if there is any performance within 3 months.
Yes, yes. For example, if I would like to publish the sport science, for example, paper in the sport science subject, and I would like to know about aerobic, for example, or rotation, which is a subtitle inside the sport science. Can I see any like a statistic record of the publication inside using Scopus?
Okay, using Scopus, yes and no. Scopus is a fundamental tool that cannot, the limitation right now is it cannot do 3 months analysis, because we always look at least 1 to 3 years to have an objective result. 3 months is a little bit too short. So unfortunately, Scopus cannot support it yet. If you are looking at subcategory, we have another product, it's called SciVal. They may be able to help you with this more. Scopus is more of a fundamental one, but yours is like really niche analysis. So SciVal would be a better tool that maybe can help you. Yep. If you require information, I'll get my account manager to speak to you, because we have got an expert on that. Yeah, but we have an expert to help to get the information to demo for her. Okay? Yes.
I have a question about SNP and SJR.
Yes.
Do you mean that the publication published in Scopus will get its first SNP in the first year, or will it take longer than that?
You need to wait at least 3 years for a new. Okay. thank you for your time. I'll come back for another session. Thanks.
Okay, it's about time for the break. You can break in front of this room, yes.
have talented researchers like each one of you. You also have resources from the university or your funding body, plus your communication, either in conference proceeding or your personal network. All this can be joined up by a high-performance research engine, which is Scopus and Science Direct. This is how we position our products. And also, this is a chart that shows you the investment of the university also increases the value of your research output. It looks a little bit complicated, but what we are looking at is just different stages. For developing countries or less developed countries, we use our natural resources, that means heritages, and it's more labor intensive. And then we are moving into countries that's more advanced in knowledge. So we move into a knowledge-based economy. We need more technology, and then we also need more innovation. So if we are going towards this direction, what we can do is we need to depend more and rely more on databases to help you streamline your work, so that will be less labor intensive. And then we can focus our time, the human capital, in areas that we are really looking at developing. And this is the value of Elsevier that we bring to the world. A lot of people know that Elsevier is big, but how big is big and how important it is? Everybody says we need to publish into Elsevier paper or Elsevier journal, but exactly why? This is why. This is a value cycle of Science Direct, actually Elsevier. Basically, it links back to my previous presentation, that little nice circle that we have talking about research workflow. We need to read, investigate enough on full text. And what we are looking at is 32% of what the world is reading comes from Elsevier. And all these are other publishers, and then these are little ones that adds up. So we are the #1 publisher. Then we also need to publish. After reading, we need to publish to showcase our ideas. And then out of all this publisher, Elsevier is the #1 choice for people to publish into. That's 19.2%. And lastly, like what I say, we need to get reference, get cited. So this is a dissemination. Science Direct is also a dissemination platform. It showcases your idea if it gets indexed in Science Direct. Everyone in the world get to search for your work. And then 25% of what people are searching in the world is from Elsevier. Okay? So, I'm done with Elsevier. Let's talk about Science Direct. This is Science Direct. It's a full text database. So, it covers books, it covers journals, it covers back files. A lot of people do not know. They think Science Direct is only for journal. So today, I'm going to change this mindset. And these are the top journals, and then very important journals in Science Direct. They are very renowned. They have high impact factor, SNP and SJR, and then they are published by Elsevier. So you have #1 in all, these are the #1 journals in various categories. Inside Science Direct platform, there are 26 subject categories. So it depends on which area that you are interested of or you are specialized in. You can look at different number of journals. Because right now, Thailand is in a consortium from OHAC, Office of Higher Education. Therefore, you get to enjoy freedom collection. That means everything here. You've got 26 subject area. Inside 26 subject areas, you've got these amount of journals in each subject area, and inside each of the journal, you've got many, many individual articles. So you've got a lot of information to search from. So if you linked it up with Scopus, they are actually complementary to each other. So what I would recommend is you search using Scopus, link to Science Direct, help you to save time. And I also mentioned backfile is something that a lot of people do not know. So what we are talking about backfile is pre-1995 data. So whatever that we see in the previous slide is 1995 until now. So what we have here, the Freedom Collection has 8 million articles, but we also have another 4 million article that's in the backfile. Okay? So everybody was telling me backfile. So what is so special about backfiles that I should be having? But basically, backfiles are very important theories, fundamental knowledge that you need to know if you are starting up as a researcher. Your lecturers always refer you to original research paper, right? And then they are very, very old. And if they're very, very old, sometimes the quality is not so good and you don't know what you are reading. Especially English is not our first language. And then you'll be scratching your head to think, am I understanding it correctly? So what we have is we put it on Science Direct, and then we have that this is the old version that you're looking at. And then right now we make it on Science Direct platform and then make it interactive. This is a physics paper. It's like Higgs particle. I don't know if you know about Higgs particle, but it was an old theory and then it get revamped and then put on to Science Direct so that you get to see it in a very innovative ways in charts and graphs. This is one thing that Science Direct can offer because it's showing you images and videos, unlike PDFs. So you get to look at things in a more interactive way. And there is a theory, it says that 10% of what you are citing from a normal researcher, especially from the top 10 universities like MIT, Harvard, Stanford, they use more backfiles. People always have an idea that they need to use the latest information to write journals. Actually, it's not that true because if done a study, 10% of what they are publishing comes from backfiles. And then you can see the top area is computer science, pharmacology, toxicology, and pharmaceuticals. And I also like to mention a little bit on books. Books is a fundamental knowledge before you go to journal. So as a student or teacher, when you want to impart or teach people about the fundamental knowledge, books is a very good thing to start with. So basically what you can see here is a timeline of what we have incorporated for books. So there are different types of books, MRWs, backfiles, book series, and legacy collections. So this is what we have for different book lists. Now, let me come back to the platform itself. I think everybody is waiting for this. The platform, the entry platform for Science Direct is very easy to remember, www.sciencedirect.com. This is the landing page. You will see this when you first enter. And this is the place you actually do your first search. So if you are coming in with a particular journal, article page and article title that you want to know, you can just type in your keywords and then also the volume and then the page. It can bring you directly to the place. What you can do here is something special called image search. Image search is very interesting new functions that we've just introduced. For people that's from the medicinal industry, faculty, they are very they have a need to do their research and then to look at things that's in image. So what I do here is to come to advanced search and then images. I can put in the words, keyword like X-ray. So what you can do here is you can look at different images and decide if you want to read further on the full text. So this is one of the way of searching. Conventionally, back in the old time, people use keyword to search. But right now, we are telling you you can do it via image. And the best part is you can also do it via video. I'm just coming back to the page and then click videos. So you get to search through in two different formats. This is especially important in some of the medical field so that they can read and then look at it. You can always click in or hover, move your mouse over to see more content, to see if this is something that you want to read. And then you can just click and go into it. If the amount of result is too much, you want to further narrow it down, that will be everything that's on your left-hand side. So it's very similar to Scopus. Okay? So there is also another way. If you do not have a particular keyword that you are thinking about, you just want to do a general exploratory search, just a generic search. This is the place that you go to. You look at different subject area that is relevant. So inside this big subject category, it has subcategory. So I think somebody asked me about subcategory previously. This is how you can narrow it down further to look at subcategories. And then you can browse it this way. Do you want me to do demo on this one? Like where to find this? No? Yes? If not, I'll just continue. And then when you go in, let's say if I'm using the keyword of aerospace, this is how you will have, if you key in the word aerospace, and then you limit it to through this site. And if this search is something that you really enjoy looking at, you can come back to save this search, and then the next time you will have information on this. Same, you can sort by relevance and date. And the one thing that's very important for everyone is how do you know what are the information you can see full text and what are the information you cannot see full text. Just now I've mentioned we've got freedom collection in Kazakhstan, but there are certain information that you do not have. For example, books and back files. And then how do you differentiate whether there are things you can see or cannot see? It's this icon. If it's green color, that means you have access to full text. If it's gray, that means no. And there is a possibility you see orange. Orange means open access. So without subscription, you can still see it. And you get to email all the articles to you. And this also another function called download multiple PDFs. So this is slightly different from what you see on Scopus because these are all the full texts. And then at times, we have reference managers. Do you use RefWork or EndNote? Any one of you? Yep. So anyone heard of Mendeley? Oh, I see people nodding. But basically, for people who do not know what is Mendeley, it's very similar to EndNote and RefWork, but it has an additional function like Facebook. So what you can do is you can export all your citations to Mendeley, and then you can just edit when you are writing your manuscript. And then at the same time, you can post you can share and post some of the PDFs that you have downloaded, add notes or discussion, and put it on the Mandalay discussion network. So if today I have agro engineering chat group created here. So everybody in this chat group that has Mandalay can start discussion. I like a certain topic, I like a certain paper. I'm particularly interested in the discussion presented in paper A at paragraph certain place. You can highlight and annotate, and then you can start sharing within your group. So this is additional point on top of the normal reference manager. So what you can do here is you save the Mandalay and you can start log in and then do your discussion after you have downloaded the PDF. So this is the intuitive format. It's pretty simple. I think I will do a demo. Let's make it. Science Direct. This is the main platform. Just now, somebody was asking me if they have not problems, they need additional help to edit English, because English is not our first language. What you can do is probably you can read a little bit more on web shop. Then you will have additional service that you can engage to check your work. I think somebody just asked me during the discussion when we're having break. So this is the place you can go to. So basically what I do here is I will put in a keyword. No, I want to use another one. Immunology. Okay, so I key in the words of immunology. These are the results that I have come up with, and it's a lot. So I need to narrow it down further. And then there's an interesting place here. We are in year 2014, but why are we having information on 2015? It's because as a publishing house, we planned well ahead, so we already know what we want to include for 2015. So actually you get to see the information article in press. Okay, so this site, whatever you cannot see, gray, blank, that means no full text. Okay, so, and then you can see chapter 2, so this is definitely a book. Then we can limit it to journal and apply filters to narrow down the result a little bit more. So that's it. I'm going into this page. This is the document page itself. Whatever that's on your left-hand side, you can just click, and this is your content page. And this is the journal itself, the main page. So I can click and go into it very quickly. Let me come back. The interesting point that I want to introduce today is not about this. It's really about this one, recommended articles, citing articles and related book content. It's a little bit like Scopus. So they will just tell you what are the articles that it's citing or it has been cited. That means it's relevant to other people that's doing the same thing. And then recommended article, as usual, we look at the usage, we look at how people are behaving, and then we suggested this to you. But one additional thing that is slightly different from Scopus is book content. So if you're a student, you read this journal page, article page, and you find you probably don't quite understand the theory. So what you can do is you can come into related book content. So you can read about the fundamentals first. Then you can understand a little bit more on the journal itself. This one do not have it because it's a report, so it's not an article, journal article. Okay. So this part, we have also author information. So if you want to talk to some authors, you can actually email them or see where are their affiliations. Here is how we do batch download. I'm going to select a few. Download PDFs. You have to have Java. If not, this will run a very long time. Let it run at the background. So this is basically what you will be seeing. And then you can download the maximum of 20 articles. So I would strongly recommend you to go through the HTML, the platform first, because it has linkage. It brings you to the page directly. So the reference articles and then also the reference list. They are all having links that bring you to Scopus or any other articles. If you are using PDF, you will not be able to do that because PDF is static. It won't link you anywhere. So on ScienceDirect platform, it actually brings you to different page to read. Okay, about functionality finished. Then I want to talk about how to submit your papers. A lot of people said, I have paper that I want to submit, and I submit it to a publisher, and then there is no reply for 6 months. And then you've been waiting, and you do not know if you should move on to the next one, or you should just stick. So what we have here is the Elsevier editorial system. What you can do is you can submit here, and then you can track your process, and then if there's any feedback, they will come back to you, so you can make amendments immediately. Because most of the time, the publishers, they will have some feedback, and then you will need to amend before they formally accept. So there are different stages. And you can find this at each of the journal page. So how do you do it? How do you do this is you can go into the page, then you click here. Brings you to the journal page itself. You can go to about this journal or submit your paper. It will link you directly to the place. But what I want to do is to actually share this page. Every journal at Elsevier have their own journal page. So what we do here is you get to see the information about this journal. First thing, if you want to submit into this particular journal, you want to learn what is the requirement, what is the best format. Because I'd rather you spend more time on changing your format that it's readily acceptable than spending 6 months for them to tell you need to change again, and it wastes a lot of time. So you will come here to read Guide for Authors and then change accordingly and track your papers after you submit. So you can see all your journal matrix here. So this is a more simple way, more fundamental way of looking at the impact factors and everything, if you already have a journal that you are interested to look at. So different ways of doing it. You can use Scopus, you can use analysis tool to evaluate and compare. You can also come to individual journal page, and then you just read accordingly. Okay? And then there is also another function called Elsevier Journal Finder. Well, basically what we do here, there are several things that you can use to find journals. It's on elsevier.com. So what we have here is a journal finder page that you can put in the keyword of the journal, and then we will start matching for you, judging from your criteria. And then there is also another new function that we want to encourage everyone. Just now got a previous session, there are different things that we there's a question that's saying that I have not decided on my particular topic, and I want to know how to decide one. So basically what you do is you come back to Science Direct, and then you go to the top 25 page. There are several ways you can do it. Basically, you can look at, say, chemical engineering. You can select the journal. If you do not have a journal that you want to select, you can just go ahead and select the dates. So what we do here is we are looking at the number of downloads from this area between this period, and then we will suggest these are the articles that you should be reading. And then also you can look at the citations when it links to Scopus. So a very direct way is just to click and then start reading full text from here. There we go. Okay. Before I come to here, I also want to do another thing for topic alerts. If we do not know a particular area that you want to focus on, it's good that you come here. Everyone is encouraged to have your own personal profile, because this will remember the searches that you have, and then also your preferences. I will come to this place. Manage my alerts. This is where you can save all your searches, and then you can amend on it. So if there's any update, say monthly, weekly, or daily, they will send email to you. This is the thing I was talking about. It's called topic alerts. So when I'm looking at engineering, I will go to engineering area category, and there are so many topics that I can subscribe to. These are the topics that people picked up from the rest of the world they think is important to read. So these are the areas that people are focusing on. And the frequency is weekly. So if you think it's too much, you can actually come back and then remove it. This part. And then you can just save it. And then delete it as and when you like. And this has nothing to do with your entitlement. So if you are outside of the university, you cannot, you can still use this profile, but the content will be different. You probably cannot see the content because we limit your access within the school compound. Okay. And then I also have some of the activities and supports that we have for you. Let's say today you have, because right now I've been telling you the updates and the new list, you have not tried using it, then you will have lesser questions. But once you have questions and then you can't remember what I've told you, you can come back to this page called trainingdesk@elsevier.com. So it has short video clips to bring you through all the functionalities. Then you can know how to maneuver yourself within this platform. And there is some information about how to publish paper, how you should organize the way that you're writing, some ways of flow, and then how do you read and write with the comment from publishers. It's from this website. And then we will also have Library Connect event. This is more relevant to the librarians so that they can exchange ideas on how they can improve library process flow. And before I finish, is there any question? Or do you think, yes? Mendeley, yes.
Do we need to install program, and this is open for all or just for Elsevier user?
Okay, Mendeley is a free tool. Individual edition is free. So you can go to Mendeley and then download it. There are two formats of Mendeley. One is the desktop version, one is the web version. So both of them work equally well. It depends on your preference. If I'm going to switch computer a lot, like for example, I travel and do talks a lot, I actually prefer the web version because it's more portable. But you can synchronize all your datas together. So it's okay that you switch in between different terminals. It doesn't matter. Okay? You can download it and it's free for you to use. And let me see. If you first clicked it, you'll be able to download it immediately. If you don't have, because I think this is a demo account, this is a demo computer. They do not have Mendeley. They will prompt you to create a free account. So what you can do here is just to follow the instruction and then create your own account. So the next time when you click all the information, it will be exported to Mendeley directly. So there are two ways that you can export. You can export it at the individual level, article level, or I'm just pressing back button. You can also select a view. It's like a batch download thing. And then you save it to Mendeley. So there are a few types that you can look at. This is export citation. So this part is very similar with RefWork or EndNote. Because this computer doesn't have that demo account, or else I would really want to show you how to create a discussion group. But not to worry, on this Elsevier.com website, we do have videos on how to use Mendeley. So you can click on short videos to learn about Mendeley as and when you have time. I'm going to leave it here, so later you can take a look. Okay? Any more questions? And before I forget, this is the page that I was talking about, the journal finder. It's over here. It's on Elsevier.com. So a lot of the resources that I have shown you today is on Elsevier.com. Okay?
Excuse me, I want to ask. I really don't understand much about the difference between Scopus and ScienceDirect. Could you please tell me, like my major is agricultural economics. So the ScienceDirect or Scopus is have more journal related to my major.
Let me ask you, what do you want to achieve by using this database? You want to see full text? Or you want to see...
I want to download full text, and I also want to search for the journal to submit my paper.
Understand. So there are a few questions that I need to answer now. First, what is the difference between Scopus and ScienceDirect? Scopus is indexing an abstract tool. So it helps you to bring you to a full text. It's for searching, okay? To find out journals that you probably want to submit into. That's using Scopus. But if you want to know about areas of your research, know about the full text, what people are writing about, their references, their figures, their charts, you have to come to Science Direct to read it. So probably I went a little bit too fast in my previous presentation. So imagine yourself having a book, a normal book. You've got index and content page at the front and at the back. So that is helping you to find the information that you want to know inside the book itself. So think Scopus as your content page and index, Science Direct as the paragraphs and the words inside that book. So you work together using this two databases to find the information that you want to find. Is it okay, or you want me to elaborate further?
You mentioned about Science Direct link to Scopus, right? How to do that, please?
Well, it's very interesting. You can do it both ways. You can link it from Science Direct to Scopus. You can also link from Scopus back to Science Direct. It depends on which one you are reading. I would recommend, if you have no idea what you want to see, you have no idea what you want to look for, you go for, say, pathology plant at Scope. No, I want to use renewable energy because So you can take a look at it, see if there is any full text. If this is an Elsevier article, it will bring you to Science Direct. This is an ACS publication, so it will bring you directly to the publisher. So you can see the full text from this publisher. So if it's a Science Direct article, you'll be able to view full text. So this is how you link it back. And if you want to link from Science Direct back to Scopus, there are several ways. First, you can do this. You can read the citations, and then you can link it from this page back to Scopus. This is one. And then you can also go back to the individual article page. To see if there is anything that you can link it back to Scopus. I want to use another. What you can do here is, normally inside a journal, in each of the journal page, there is a reference list at the back of the journal. So what we can do here is, at the end of the journal, you will be able to see linkage from there. you can link it back. And then you can link it back. References. This one. So you can link it back to Scopus. There are a few ways of doing it. Okay?
Yeah, thank you so much. The last question, could you please suggest for me some documents that related to how to write a good paper? Like I already have the result and content, but I consider how to, the way to make it interesting to read or something like that. Please.
Interesting to read as in, how do you organize your framework or?
How to write a good paper.
How to write a good paper.
And I already have content in the result.
This is the place that you can probably take a look at. Sorry. It's called elsevier.com, Journal of the Home. So they will give you some tips and tricks of how to arrange your paper or how to improve the way that you are writing. This is the place that you can go to.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Under prepare your paper. So they will tell you the information you can read from here. Okay? So if there's no more question, I will end my presentation here. Thank you.
ในลำดับต่อไปนะคะเราจะทานอาหารที่ยังด้วยกันนะคะที่ชั้น2นะคะเดี๋ยวเชิญที่ชั้น2ได้เลยนะคะ so next we will have lunch at the second floor and คุณสัสยา and I will take you to the second floor please welcome